Greetings and welcome to my channel, dear viewers. I hope you're having a great day. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you enjoy the video. Piper, the daughter in Drew Scott and Linda Phan's family photo, is already half as big as her mother. Everyone is curious about how much time has passed and how tall their one-year-old daughter Piper will grow up after seeing Drew Scott and Linda Phan's most recent family portrait. Scott posted the cutest collection of pictures of himself, Phan, and their daughter Piper earlier this week. "This is one it has FLON by," was the caption he wrote when he posted the pictures to Instagram. "Pipes, happy birthday." The first image shows Scott and Phan, dressed in vibrant clothing, walking together while holding Piper's hands. The shadow of the group is then shown. However, did you also observe it? Piper is already almost half as big as her mother. When it comes to height, those Scott genes are really showing. Additionally, Scott wrote more than one piece for his daughter's birthday. He honored his dancing queen's most adorable habit, dancing to everything, by sharing a compilation video of her earlier that day. "Happy first birthday to our little dancing queen," was the caption he posted alongside the video. "Piper, happy belated birthday." For those who are unaware, Scott and Phan fell in love right away after meeting at a Toronto Fashion Week event in 2010. In 2018, they got married. In May 2022, on their fourth wedding anniversary, they welcomed their son Parker James into the world after 12 years of marriage. They declared they were expecting a second child in early 2024, and their daughter Piper Ray was born on June 5, 2024. In an interview with Drew and Jonathan back in 2023, Drew discussed what fatherhood meant to him. "I don't want to be the dad that works nonstop and goes off filming. I'm not interested in the conventional stereotypes. Both Linda and I wish to contribute to Parker's development," he stated. "Everyone's family looks different, and there is no such thing as a perfect dad or parent. You're doing the job as long as you're putting your all into your work, showing your children love, and teaching them to be kind." On her first birthday, Drew Scott shares an incredibly adorable compilation video of his daughter Piper's favorite pastime. The baby girl of Drew Scott and Linda Phan is now a year old, even though it feels like she was just born. This week was Piper's first birthday, and her proud father celebrated by making the cutest compilation film that showcased Piper's favorite pastime from the previous year. The Property Brothers star posted a video to Instagram with the caption, "POV. Your toddler dances to anything and everything." In one, his daughter wiggles while sitting on the floor, grabs onto her crib rails and dances, and even gets up at a toy kitchen and shakes her bottom. Piper is always dancing, regardless of her location or activity, even when reading a book. And it's so unbelievably adorable that we can't stand it. Cheers to our little dancing queen's first birthday. The adorable video, which Scott captioned, got a ton of love in the comments section. "Where does time go? That passed by so fast." One individual said, "Happy birthday, little Miss Piper. She's adorable." Someone else said, "Must have seen her dad on Dancing with the Stars." The HGTV personality also posted photos of Piper strolling hand in hand with her parents. Piper is wearing a strawberry print top and pink shorts, and she has a small piece of fabric knotted around her long black hair. They descend the steps of their back patio in the first photo. Then they stop to gaze at their shadows on the pavement in the second. "This is the first time it has flown by." Scott wrote a caption for the image. "Happy birthday, Pipes." Additionally, Scott and Phan have a 3-year-old son named Parker, who is the proudest big brother. Scott posted a picture of Parker and Piper hugging earlier this month, and it's such a cute moment. Sibling cuddles. "I adore Parky's role as a big bro," Scott captioned the picture. "This family is incredibly loving toward one another, and witnessing their strong bond makes our hearts skip a beat." Given how fortunate she is to be a member of this entertaining, loving family, Piper most likely can't stop dancing. Some Parker's adorable little voice is on display in Drew Scott's funny new video, Drew Scott's amusing films about parenting are once again making his fans laugh. This time though, it wasn't just his antics that were the main attraction. No, his son Parker was the main character this time, and we even got to hear his adorable little voice. The HGTV star is seen scurrying around his home in the Instagram video, obviously attempting to get somewhere with his 3-year-old son Parker, whom he has with wife Phan, and his daughter Piper, who is almost 1 year old. He rushes to the car after gathering the necessities. Earth, Wind and Fire's September is playing throughout, and the band is begging Scott to remember again. Scott has everything he needs, save for his son, and is hurrying out of the driveway in his car. Parker is shown in the video standing on the couch and pointing at his father out the window. Fans are adoring the fact that they were able to hear Parker's adorable tiny voice in addition to finding it completely relatable. The adorable child shouted to his father, "Where are you going?" Then, in a sweet and resigned tone, he says, "Goodbye." Before inquiring one more about the Property Brothers star's whereabouts, "Parker, you have a valid question. Without you, where was your dad going with all that toddler gear?" Fans showered Scott's comments with emojis of laughter and their affection for Parker. One fan commented, "He is so adorable, Bill." Jonathan Scott, Parker's uncle and Scott's twin brother, was quick to make fun of his brother in the comments section. "What was your justification prior to having children?" he inquired, giving the impression that Scott has always been a little forgetful. His sibling making fun of him did not impress the father of two. He answered, "Scott sent a heartfelt birthday ode to his oldest earlier this week. He posted on Instagram, 'To my little foodie, my coffee connoisseur, my dinosaur wrangler, and my walk and talk buddy. The last 3 years have been the finest I could have ever dreamed thanks to you. Parky, you have my undying love.'" That time, Jonathan refrained from trolling his twin. Rather, he simply left his cute nephew, who can wrestle dinosaurs, some affection. "My man, Parker, happy birthday." He uttered those words. A heartfelt post about his daughter is shared by Drew Scott. HGTV personality Drew Scott wrote a touching article about his wife Phan and daughter Piper Ray. On March 8, Scott celebrated International Women's Day on his Instagram account. According to TODAI, he posted images of his mother, Phan's mother, and his daughter Phan. "My heart has never been so full since this little nugget made me a girl dad 10 months ago. I'm really appreciative that Piper has such great female role models around her." The post caption said, "International Women's Day." Fans expressed their gratitude for Drew Scott's post. Many people expressed their appreciation for Scott's message in the comments area. A commenter wrote, "Your little girl is precious and surrounded by so much love. Your family is full of amazing women. Very fortunate," said another. Another person said, "Your lovely little girl is growing up so quickly, and I know she is surrounded by so much love. Piper is really fortunate to have you as a father, Drew, and to be surrounded by all of these stunningly gorgeous and incredible women." A social media user left a comment. Drew Scott discussed his son Parker's reaction to Piper Ray's arrival in an Instagram post from June 2024. Scott said that he and his spouse had welcomed Piper. "Our 3-person family has grown to 4. I love you with all my heart, Piper Ray," Scott captioned the photo. In August 2024, Scott talked to Collider about how his 2-year-old son Parker first felt about his sister. The father of 2 claims that Parker was a little trepidatious about his sister. He was unsure of what to anticipate. It's almost as if he became a little envious when he believed she was about to harm him or something. "Who's this woman who keeps taking up my time? I'm the most important person in this house," Scott told the newspaper. His son now enjoys spending time with Piper Ray, he said. His desire to spend every moment with her seems to have reached a new level. He wants to nuzzle her, kiss her hand or head, pet her, and do other things like that. "Watching the 2 of them together is so cute," Scott remarked in the interview. Scott added that because Parker and Piper Ray are only 2 years apart, He thinks they will get along well as they get older. Scott told Call Letter. Hopefully, it will help them bond and be closer as they get older. The amazing change in Linda Phan, Drew Scott's wife, the enormous home improvement heartthrob twins, Drew and Jonathan Scott, who have been dazzling audiences with their charismatic stage presence and real estate/contracting prowess since 2011, are probably well known to HGTV viewers, but some may not be aware of the truth about Drew's wife, Linda Phan. For instance, Phan plays a significant role behind the scenes in The Property Brothers, something you may not be aware of. Since becoming involved with her husband and brother-in-law's business and entertainment endeavors, Phan has developed into a skilled creative director, TV personality, and content producer who has contributed to The Property Brothers' success. From creating props for advertising campaigns to organizing high-profile events, Phan's contributions to Scott Brothers Entertainment are as varied as her skill set. She is a creative force to be reckoned with. In addition to her work behind the scenes at Scott Brothers Entertainment, Phan has appeared on screen alongside Drew Scott in the Property Brothers spin-off Property Brothers at Home, Drew's Honeymoon House, where the couple collaborated to create their own home as a family to begin their married life. Through captivating social media posts that provide endearing peeks into the daily lives of one of HGTV's most known stars, Phan has captivated both new and existing Property Brothers fans with her captivating and personable demeanor. Growing up, Linda Phan was part of a large Canadian family. Linda Phan was born in Canada, just like Drew and Jonathan Scott, the Property Brothers. However, Phan is a city girl from Toronto, in contrast to her husband and his twins' more rural background in scenic Banff. She grew up in a home full of siblings after being born on April 22, 1985. Phan hasn't revealed many details about her early years, but she has uploaded a number of pictures from her early years on Instagram, each with a humorous, witty, or loving caption that expresses sentimental memories of a joyful childhood. In order to show her love and gratitude for the roles her parents have played in her life, Phan has also posted more recent photos of them on special occasions like Mother's Day and Father's Day. When people wrote about Phan's choice of wedding gown, fans were given a peek inside her relationship with her sisters. April Phan, one of Linda's bridesmaids, said, "I'm choking up just thinking about Linda in her dress, walking down the aisle. She looked so beautiful, stunning. It was a fairy tale dream come true." Her sweet, sweet smile melted everyone's hearts. The Phan sisters have provided guidance and support in other areas of each other's lives, in addition to the glitz and glamour of wedding celebrations. After meeting Drew Scott at Toronto Fashion Week, she began dating him. When Linda Phan and Drew Scott first met in 2010, their relationship had a peculiar beginning, which is one of its oddities. Phan immediately attracted Scott's notice when he dressed as the fashion police at the same Toronto Fashion Week event. Scott told people in an interview that she was wearing a big cop badge and giving out tickets for bad fashion. He said that when he first met her, he thought, "Oh, she's attractive, and she had a great personality." In the same article, Phan describes the encounter, stating that she and her sister were backstage looking for refreshments when Scott approached them. Asking his future wife where she obtained the water bottle she was holding started the conversation, and Phan continued it by asking him where he got the food he had been holding. That seemed to be all that was required to initiate the romance. A few months after their initial meeting, the two went on what Phan calls the longest first date ever. Scott invited her to join him for an already existing engagement with friends, and they sang a dubious karaoke version of "I'm on a Boat" by The Lonely Island. After dating Drew Scott for a few years, Linda Phan became the creative director of Scott Brothers Entertainment, the production company that Drew and Jonathan Scott own and run, in 2013. Leading the company's digital expansion through apps and social media engagement, planning the Producers Ball, a VIP gala hosted by Scott Brothers Entertainment during the Toronto International Film Festival, and overseeing digital content, merchandise lines, marketing campaigns, and philanthropy on the company's behalf. are just a few of Phan's responsibilities. The praise she gets from her husband and his brother is well-earned because she is a multi-talented woman. According to HGTV, in an interview with Entertainment Tonight, Drew praised Phan for her achievements and skill in her role, saying, "She's great. That's why she's the creative director with our company. She has an architectural design background as well, and she has brilliant ideas and has a great aesthetic, and she's really our property sister, we can say." After dating for 6 years, she became engaged to Drew Scott. The path to marriage for Linda Phan and Drew Scott was not a short one. They put their wedding on hold until it appeared appropriate to begin planning a wedding since they were so focused on their professions. Nonetheless, Scott determined that December 2016 was the ideal time to plan a romantically lavish surprise proposal for his long-term girlfriend. Details of the proposal were made public, such as how Scott surreptitiously fled to New York to record a cover of Train's "Marry Me" to be played when he proposed at a private dinner at Piano in Toronto. Complete with a Dr. Seuss-themed cake, the proposal featured Phan's favorite book's title, slightly modified to read, "Oh, all the places we'll go." Even the ring Scott used to pop the question was custom-made to fit his future bride's personality. He told People how the design came about. "I had an image in mind for this ring long before I designed it. Linda doesn't wear rings often, and because she's so petite, when she does they are typically a small, simple, classy look. However, I wanted to design a ring that still had a little style, so I incorporated a 4-prong swirl solitaire mount for the 14-karat white gold ring." Following her engagement, Linda Phan became active in charitable activities. Only a few months after announcing their engagement, Linda Phan and Drew Scott joined forces with We Charity, a group that works to enhance autonomy, education, and infrastructure in underprivileged areas, in 2017. In addition to supporting We's efforts to expand access to clean drinking water, conserve regional cuisine and artistic traditions, and advance equal educational opportunities for all, regardless of age or gender, the two traveled to Kenya to interact with and learn from the students and craftspeople of the local communities. Phan and Scott chose to forego a conventional wedding register in favor of encouraging their guests to contribute the monetary worth of their presence to We Charities in order to support the organization's work. Following our trip to Kenya last year, Phan clarified in a People remark, "We're really excited for our wedding and to have everyone involved because together we can make a difference. We knew for sure that we wanted to include We in our wedding." In an Instagram post celebrating their trip, Scott wrote, "We had our hearts set on a different sort of honeymoon, being able to immerse ourselves in the culture of Ecuador and make a positive impact on the lives of people who live in this beautiful country is making our honeymoon dreams come true." The couple's decision to spend their honeymoon in Ecuador was influenced by their involvement with We, which led them to dedicate their time and energy to the organization's commitment to enacting environmental change. She wed Drew Scott in a gorgeous piazza in Italy. The truth about their wedding is that it began as a secret. Linda Phan and Drew Scott got married at a courthouse in Nashville, Tennessee, prior to the formal ceremony. After 6 years of dating and another year of engagement, the couple was ready for a wedding, but they knew that not just any old destination wedding would do. They chose a glamorous springtime destination wedding in Italy, specifically at La Piazza del Borgo in picturesque Puglia. A week prior to the wedding, they invited Phan's 10 bridesmaids and Scott's groomsmen to participate in joint bachelor and bachelorette activities with a quintessential Italian flair. The couple also threw a welcome party to welcome their guests, who had traveled from far and wide to be a part of Phan and Scott's long-awaited union. The festivities included a specially choreographed first dance by Scott's partner from Dancing with the Stars, Emma Slater, and her husband, as well as tributes to the couple's respective cultures, with Scott and his groomsmen wearing traditional kilts, and their wedding cake featuring the Chinese characters for double happiness via People. Phan opted for 2 dresses for the event. The stunning, non-traditional gown she wore for the ceremony was designed by Claire Pettibone and featured a colorful floral embroidered, beaded plunge bodice and sheer sleeves, cuffed in the same gorgeous embroidery. The dress was balanced by an A-line, ivory skirt that focused attention on the intricate design at the top. Phan wore a more traditional gown from the same designer for her reception. In 2020, Linda Phan and Drew Scott launched a podcast. "The home is a springboard for life because everything really starts at home," says Linda Phan in the podcast trailer, which explains the show's fitting title, At Home with Drew and Linda Scott. After settling into married life, Linda Phan and her husband started another joint endeavor to broaden their professional portfolios. A podcast that delves into the details of what truly makes a house a home, not so much in the realm of design or real estate, but in the passions and in-depth conversations that are fostered there. Following the podcast's launch in 2020, Phan and Scott invited a wide range of celebrities to talk about a variety of important and varied subjects, including work/life balance, parenthood, growing up, environmental awareness, social justice, and, yes, occasionally, home decor and renovation. Among the many well-known figures featured are Kris Jenner, David Hasselhoff, Howie Mandel, and many more well-known celebrities. The couple also invited members of their family to join them on the mic, including Drew and Jonathan's parents, two of Linda's sisters, and Jonathan Scott and his wife, Zooey Deschanel. From 2020 to 2022, Scott and Phan regularly released new episodes until taking a long break to give birth to their first child. And since then, there haven't been any new episodes of the series. She has conquered her infertility challenges. Drew Scott and Linda Phan started their family-building journey shortly after their wedding, and in a May 2018 interview with People, Drew Scott said he was confident in his and Phan's ability to become parents in the future, saying, "We're excited to have kids." Despite their tremendous enthusiasm, the couple unfortunately struggled with fertility in the first few years of their marriage. "I think Linda and I will be great parents, and we're excited to start that chapter of our lives." The pair co-authored an emotional message about their fertility challenges and hopes that others will learn from their experience in a blog post for Drew and Jonathan's website, writing, "We hadn't decided to wait this long. Simply put, we had never taken the necessary actions to realize it. We believed it would happen magically, and it didn't." They blindly tried to conceive for more than 2 years, succumbing to burnout and overwork, before realizing that their journey would be much more complicated than simply crossing their fingers and hoping for a good result. They used that disappointment as a chance to reflect on their lifestyles and consider the challenges they faced, including their disregard for their own health and well-being. They also sought the assistance of a reproductive endocrinologist, undergoing fertility treatments and adopting healthy lifestyle changes to improve their chances of becoming pregnant. Nearly 4 years after their wedding, in May 2022, Phan and Scott received their long-awaited newborn boy, Parker, with delight. In 2024, Linda Phan gave birth to her second child. After years of battling to conceive their first child, Linda Phan and Drew Scott went into their second pregnancy preparations with a lot more information and resources than they had at the beginning. In an interview with Today, Scott revealed that while he and his wife were talking about seeing their reproductive endocrinologist again, they learned that Phan had become pregnant on her own, without the help of a doctor. She was 3 months along when they found out, and she did 4 pregnancy tests and they were all positive. In the interview, Scott added, "So we checked in with the doctor, and she was over 3 months pregnant. Every indication that would be a 'you're pregnant' indicator, you just check out the window, because you've been told it's not possible. I mean, it's truly quite wonderful." Phan and Scott shared their joy with their fans in a blog post on Drew and Jonathan's website, providing adorable details about Parker's adjustment to becoming a big brother and their joy and appreciation for the closeness and support of their families. In January 2024, Phan and Scott announced via Instagram that they were expecting their second child, eagerly preparing for their newest addition. In May 2024, the family of 3 became 4 with the arrival of Piper Ray. In 2024, she obtained U.S. citizenship. After living and working in Nevada and California for the majority of the past 10 years, Canadian-born Linda Phan made the decision to pursue the difficult path of obtaining U.S. citizenship. Her husband, Drew Scott, celebrated the milestone on Instagram by sharing a picture of Phan and himself waving U.S. flags along with a message. Today, Lindy became a citizen of the United States of America. She has lived in Los Angeles for years, and she is ecstatic to be able to vote at last. Join us, register to vote, and make use of your voice, your most potent tool. Let us now celebrate Phan's citizenship, which she obtained on September 19, 2024, and her intention to vote in the 2024 presidential election. After working together to design their family home on their Property Brothers spin-off show, Property Brothers at Home, Drew's honeymoon house, Phan and Scott have established themselves in the United States. Although Scott was initially apprehensive about working so closely with his wife on the project, they ended up working as a fantastic team. "I was actually nervous at first, having Linda come in," Phan said. "I was wondering how we were going to get along, even though I know she has experience with architectural design," he told People. "We haven't actually designed a house together. Would it be too much for us to butt heads? I was astounded by Linda's concepts,